Hi, welcome to Joanna's DIY Life. On this channel, I like to do a little bit of everything as long as it's on a budget. Today we're going to be working with dollar store placemats. Now let's get crafty. Okay, so for the first one, I have this placemat, but I got it at Family Dollar, but it was $1. Not $1.25. And then I have a frame that I took a screen out of on another DIY. And then I have this piece of fabric, and I wanted to make this unique and different, not just a placemat on a piece of fabric in a frame, if you know what I mean. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my frame, and then I'm going to put my fabric, and this fabric is quite thin. So that's the reason I'm going to use a piece of foam board on the back just to stabilize this and just get it looking a little better. So I'm just going to fussy cut around it just a little bit, and then I am going to take my placemat and I'm going to put it on a sewing machine, guys. I'm going to use my vintage Singer 401A, and I am going to put this on that machine and I'm going to sew around it. The reason I'm using that one instead of a new one is because it is powerful and I trust it more, and I know I won't mess up my machine. So I'm going to take this purple spray glue. I get this at the Dollar Tree. I don't want it so much around the edge. That's why you see me wipe it off. But I'm going to use this just to stick it down so that I know it's not shifting on the fabric, because you obviously cannot pin this. Okay, and I need fabric around it, so I can't put clips on it either. So I'm just going to spray it and stick it. And I thought when I did this, oh my god, I just stuck it to my mat, but I didn't. But anyway, it is sticky, so I'm just going to let this dry and get tacky for a minute, and then I'm going to take it over to my sewing machine, and I'm just going to do a running stitch all the way around the placemat. Okay, and there it is. It looks a little bumpy on the corners because I actually ran into the wall. And when it ran into the wall, it kind of stopped and shifted a little bit, but it's all good. It's all good. So I'm going to take these two paints, and they are Waverly paints, and one of them I think is moss, and the other one is, oh my gosh, I hope I pronounce this right, but I think it's agave or something like that. It's more of a blue. So I'm trying to get the color of the truck, okay, by mixing these. So I'm just going to mix these paints a little bit, and I'm going to keep checking it with the truck to make sure that I got the right color. All you do is mix the paint till you get your desired color. Pretty sure I got the right color, so I'm just going to paint my frame inside out and all around about. And there it is. And it matches pretty good in my opinion, and my opinion is what counts because it's mine. Okay, anyways, so I am going to lay my frame on my foam board, and it's kind of crushed at the end of my foam board, so I'm just going to try to eliminate that. And I'm just going to draw around my frame, and then I'm going to cut that out. You can use a hot knife if you want to. I just used a ruler and my X-Acto knife thing, whatever. This is my finger one, and just gonna slice this up and trim it down. If you hold this thing correctly, then it works great. Unlike my other cut when I just grabbed it and started cutting. But anyways, now that I have it cut, I'm going to line it up with my frame. And it was still a little big, so I'm just going to quickly just trim a little bit off, not a lot, just a little. Because if it's the right size or the exact size of your frame, I was afraid that it might be seen from the outside. So now that I have it trimmed, I am going to take white chalk, and I am going to draw out my frame this is centered, and this is where I need my fabric cut. If there's any initial cutting, it's easy to do that. Sorry, my head popped in there. But anyways, I'm just going to cut this out of this fabric now. And you can use scissors if that's what you have, but I am going to use my quilter's ruler and my little rotary cutter because it just makes it easier. I have it, so why not use it, okay? So I'm going to do this on all 4 sides. After it's cut out, I'm going to use this spray to spray on here to tack this down. But I will tell you, if you have another spray, feel free to use it because it would probably work better and not be so wet. But once I got all my spray glue on there, I just laid it down on the foam board and spread it or pulled it, straightened it, whatever, and got all the wrinkles out of the fabric. I know what I'm trying to say in my brain. It just don't come from my brain to my mouth sometimes exactly right, but you're picking up what I'm putting down. You see what I'm doing. Spreading it out, make sure you get all your wrinkles out. Don't you wish you could do that to your body sometimes? Just get all your wrinkles out by, you know, just pulling and tugging. That'd be so easy, wouldn't it? But anyways, you get my drift. And then I'm going to put my frame on here, and you can see that there's a little black hanging out the edges. I will trim that later. But to get this centered, I am going to glue it, okay? But I want to make sure that everything stays where it needs to stay, because I'm going to be flipping this over to tack the back down. So when I flip it over, I don't want this placemat to move because, you know, I'm centering it up so cautiously right here without measuring. So I'm just going to tack with a little bit of glue just to hold that down so that I can flip it and finish putting the rest of the glue on. So I flipped it over and I glued all of it down. Now I'm going to take this little stapler and I am just going to put a few staples in to make sure that this doesn't pop off. Now I have to have a way to hang it, so I'm going to use one of these teeth wall hangy thingies, and I am going to measure to find the middle, and then I screwed it in, and I'm just taking my knife and I'm trying to mash that foam core down and pull that up just a little so that it will catch on a nail or whatever, because it was really tight. And I just realized that I got a phone call, so my church dinner list is right there for all you to see. Now I got it on, and you can decorate your frame or your picture more, embellish it more, but I like the simplicity of it. So that's, you know, how it's going to be, except for I am going to take sandpaper and do a little distressing. And I'm going to do this until it makes my eyes happy. And then I am going to take a little bit of, I think it's off-white paint or white paint, I don't know. And then I'm going to do a little dry brushing. I wasn't going to do dry brushing, but it looks a whole lot better that way. And there it is. Okay, this one, I'm going to use this placemat, these paint stir sticks from Walmart, Tite Bond glue, clips from Dollar Tree, tongue depressors probably from Walmart, miter shears, sander, and I don't know where the placemat come from, to be honest with you. I forgot to look because if you can see, my grandkids are up from their nap and they were totally distracting me. But I want to build a frame around this because I absolutely fell in love with this picture. And so to do that and make these work, I have to put the sides up. You see, I wanted it like that, but I can't because it's not long enough. So I'm going to have to take the sides and put them on the top like this to make it fit to build my frame. So once I get them the way I need them, I'm going to mark them and then use my miter box and cut them down to size. And to save time on cutting, I'm going to put these flush against each other, even, and then clip them with my Dollar Tree clips. Then when I put them in the miter box, they're not going to shift and shimmy on me. and I can saw both of those at one time. Once I have them cut, I use my sanding block, and I'm going to sand them down really, really good because they have a lot of splinters, and you want to make sure that you don't get those little things in your fingers. Okay, now I have it all sanded down pretty good, and I'm going to take my Titebond, and I have it in this tiny bottle dispenser. You can get these on Amazon. You can get them at Hobby Lobby. I think I have some in my Amazon store and my general crafting. I'm not sure. But I'm just taking a little bit of this Titebond. It dries really fast. You can use Dollar Tree wood glue, though in the automotive section, not the Dollar Tree brand. Or you can use hot glue, but hot glue squishes out everywhere, and I don't care for it. But anyway, once I got it glued together, it's holding pretty good. But I'm going to take these craft sticks, and I am going to cut them down into pieces, and I'm going to glue them on the corners to join the two sticks together. This is on the back side, and you'll see me in a minute. I glued them down, and then I took them off because I forgot about my placemat. It has to fit back there. So I had to cut a sliver off the sides of these tongue depressors, popsicle sticks, craft sticks, whatever you want to call them, to get them to fit. Now, when I cut the side off, you want to push them all the way up to the edge of your frame so that your placemat will fit in the back. Once I got my little wood pieces on, I'm going to take my pink clips from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to clip this tight, and I'm going to put my little patient pants on, and I'm going to let this dry. Okay, so I was dry, and then I put wood filler in these joints to make them look, you know, they had a big gap in them, and then sanded all that down. Now I'm just going to take my Waverly wax and a wipe, and you know me, I'm just going to wax the whole thing, and there's what it looks like. I love the wood grain showing. It's so pretty. So I'm just going to place this on my placemat, and I don't want it to move, so I'm going to take Scotch tape, which will come off very easy, and I am going to tape my placemat down to the frame when I get it centered where I want it. That way when I flip it over, see, nothing is moving. So I'm going to take my glue, and I'm going to slip it under the edge, and I'm going to glue my placemat to my frame. When you tack down a little bit, you'll have to flip it over and easily remove your tape, and then flip it back over and continue gluing until it's all glued down. Now that everything's glued down, I'm just going to take these popsicle sticks, or they're big craft sticks, okay? And I am going to glue them down. Now I will tell you, I put a jute string on this, okay? And it would have been smarter for me to glue my string at the top, then put my stick over it. But anyways, I didn't think about it at the time. So now I'm going to take this little stapler and staple this all together to make sure that nothing pops off. I'm not sure how the glue is going to stick to the placemat, but I know the staples will hold. So once that's done, there it is. It's so pretty. You can leave it as is, but I am going to take these flowers off these Dollar Tree stickers, and I'm going to place one in each corner. Now here is where I add my jute string, which would have made more sense to put it on underneath the craft stick, but you know, I'm just didn't think about it, but you know, there you go. And now that I see the sticker that came from our family Dollar Tree, but I'm pretty sure it's Family Dollar. So I just use staples to staple that in, but let me tell you, you do not want to staple unless you have the sticks on top of the staples, by the way, because it'll go through. Now I have this placemat, and it came from the Dollar Tree. I've got this wood round that came from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to place this down on there, and then I'm going to take a marker and I'm going to mark around where it is. Not this way. I thought I could see through it a little bit, but I don't trust myself, so there I go. Flip it back over, trace around it. This Frixion pen did not work. I used a Sharpie, and then cut that out. When I cut it out with just basic scissors, I'm going to cut out the salt and pepper as well. Okay, now that everything's cut out, I'm just going to place this on this board, and I'm going to glue it down. Now, I used some glue from Dollar Tree. That adhesive, that stuff stunk. I mean, seriously, it stunk. It had a bad odor, but also it just did not work. It stuck down. Maybe it would have worked without the hot glue if I'd have just waited, but this hot glue bubbled up behind it and just made a mess. So what I ended up doing was I took it all apart and I just put basic fabric tack on the back and then used a squeegee and squeezed it down and held it in place with those clips, and that worked great. Once all the glue has set, I'm going to take this baker's twine, and I'm pretty sure I got this at the Dollar Tree. You can get it at the Dollar Tree. And I'm going to glue it around with fabric tack, and I'm going to push it to the front as I'm gluing to cover up my seam and my edge, and I'm going to go around this twice. Now I am going to take my Sharpie and I'm going to go around the edge and cover up all that white on the salt and pepper. When I get that done, I am going to use a combination of fabric tack and hot glue, and I'm glue the salt and pepper to the front of this, you know, like this right here. You can use hot glue here because it is a smaller piece. It'll stay hot longer, and when you get it on there, smush it down real good to spread out your glue. Now I'm just going to take this gingham ribbon that I got at the Dollar Tree. It may have been around Christmas time, I'm not sure. But you can get this ribbon anywhere. I'm just going to make a simple bow, and then I am going to place it right there. I want my tails a little bit longer than what I had it, so I'm just going to make a Cancer Awareness, bring the middle down. Now I am just going to tack this with glue once I get my little loops even. And then I'm going to cut another piece real short once I get this tacked together, and I am going to glue it around the center. This is so easy. Anybody could do this. Then once I get my bow made, I am going to glue it in the center, and I'll dovetail the ends, which means fold it in half and cut it at an angle. You want to cut it from the middle to the edge to make your dovetails. Now this little beauty needs a hanger, so I am going to use the same baker's twine. And nope, it's not going to be that short, y'all. I decided that I'm going to take some little beads and string on this, okay? So here I am in my bead stash, just a digging. So I don't know where the footage went of me actually stringing the beads on the string, but That's a no-brainer. You just string them on. And then I am going to put a little dab of hot glue on each bead. You know, try to get them as even as I can, just to hold them on so that they don't slip. When I get that bead glued down and set, I'm just going to tack the string down and then put glue over top of each one of those. And this is what this one looks like all finished. And I love it. And here they are, all complete. And I am loving each and every one. My daughter loves the top one. Her kitchen's in red, so it would really match her. But I love them all. So if you like this video, please leave me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel. And ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Remember that you are a blessing. Until next time, goodbye.